Important warning for you. If you have man boobs, that is a serious health issue. It means that you have dangerous fat around your organs. You have insulin resistance, low testosterone, and estrogen toxicity. In this video, I'm gonna go over the best foods, exercises, and strategies to fix this. First off, we gotta understand, what is insulin resistance? Well, insulin resistance is when, insulin is this amazing hormone that comes out when our glucose levels, our blood sugar goes up. Insulin's job is to take sugar out of the bloodstream and put it into the cells where it can be used for energy. The problem is when we continue to increase our blood sugar levels, the insulin has to come out in higher and higher amounts. And over time, the cells get so stuffed full of glucose and they become damaged. When we're using glucose as an energy source, it's a quick energy source, but it's also a dirty energy source. And that means we create a lot of metabolic waste and we start to damage our mitochondria. And now we can't take in as much glucose and use it as an energy source effectively. And then our receptors on our cells become resistant to insulin. And so we stop hearing that signal, and now the blood our pancreas is producing more and more insulin, so our blood levels of insulin go up. And so we end up with this condition of insulin resistance. And there are several signs. One is that we have these man boobs. Other symptoms could be we eat a big meal and we're still hungry, or we have cravings constantly throughout the day. So we're constantly craving sugar, we're craving starches. Even after we eat a meal, a big meal, we're still craving those things, okay? We have weight that we just can't get off of our body. That's a common symptom. Skin tags, acne, things like that, all can be signs. And so if we have man boobs, it's a sign we have insulin resistance. We also have something called high aromatase. Aromatase is actually an enzyme. It converts testosterone to estrogen. So if we have man boobs, it's a sign we have high aromatase and low testosterone, which causes estrogen toxicity. See, again, aromatase converts testosterone to estrogen. So that's what's happening in our body. We normally should be producing testosterone, but aromatase is coming out and it's taking testosterone and converting it to estrogen. Aromatase functions in a high insulin environment. The only way to lower aromatase is to lower insulin. That's what we've got to do. So here's a 21-day fix. Number one, no sugar or starch or seed oils during this period of time. What's a seed oil? That's going to be things like corn oil, soybean, safflower, cottonseed oil, canola oil. Okay, we want to make sure we're avoiding those oils. So make sure no processed foods, right? And also look at condiments like salad dressings. A lot of times they're an area where you have hidden seed oils. And watch out when you go to a restaurant, oftentimes they're cooking in seed oils. So make sure you tell them, I cannot have seed oils. Tell them you're allergic or whatever you need to do. Say, I need you to cook in butter, right? Cook in butter or cook in beef tallow, beef fat, right? That's the best oil for them to cook with. Go as organic as possible, right? I know that seems like a lot. A lot of people are like, why do I have to go organic? Well, your system, if you have man boobs, your system is already overwhelmed with things we call obesogens, okay? These endocrine disrupting compounds, parabens, phthalates, BPA, okay? Microplastics. You're already overwhelmed with it. That's why you have the man boobs. So pesticides and herbicides are also endocrine disruptors. When you go organic, you get more nutrients in your food and less toxins, less chemicals, less endocrine disruptors. So this is a way to detoxify your body, okay? You don't need to do this forever, but at least for a period of time to burn through this visceral fat and get your body healthy. Go as organic as possible, okay? Now, first week, you're gonna do 3 meals. You're gonna do 50 grams of protein in each meal. That seems like a lot, right? It's about 8 ounces or so of meat. Okay, it seems like a lot, but you're taking out the sugar and the starch. And so that protein is gonna provide satiety and turn on fat burning, okay? Focus on making sure you're getting at least 50 grams of protein in each meal. And then you can, of course, have healthy fats. That's gonna come from things like, all your grass-fed animal products. It's gonna come from grass-fed butter, beef tallow, extra virgin olive oil. And then you can have fruits and vegetables as well, right? So you can have all of that. Okay, and then make sure you're walking 3 times a day for at least 10 to 15 minutes, right? Walk in the morning when you get up, walk around midday, walk in the evening. You're gonna get not only great movement in, walking is so therapeutic for your body. Not only is it helping you burn through fat, but it's also helping improve oxygenation. It's also helping improve the neurotransmitters in your brain so you have better mood, you're able to think sharper and quicker. Okay, but on top of that, you're also getting different wavelengths of sun. In the morning, you're getting a lot of red and infrared light, which help charge your mitochondria, give you energy for the day. In the middle of the day, you're getting UV light, which helps stimulate vitamin D production. And in the evening, you're getting red and infrared again, which help your body to start to rest and get ready for a deep restorative sleep at night. So make sure you're walking. I recommend morning, midday, and in the evening. Now, resistance training. This is key. If we want to burn through that fat that's causing these man boobs, we need to be strength training, okay? I recommend 4 days a week, 15 to 20 minutes. Doesn't have to be long, but you're gonna go, one day you're gonna do upper body, the next day you're gonna do lower body, right? So let's say Monday was upper body, Tuesday lower body, so the upper body can rest and recover. Wednesday, take a rest day. Still walk, but don't do strength training. And then Thursday would be your upper body day again, and then Friday would be your lower body. When you're exercising, making sure you're doing compound, full body type exercises, right? It's gonna be things like bench press, bent over row, or like a seated row, right? When you're doing upper body. You do a push exercise followed by a pull exercise, right? With very little rest between sets. You don't wanna take a long rest. By taking short rests between sets, you actually really stress the mitochondria and create new healthy, stress-resilient mitochondria that burn fat more effectively for fuel. So make sure the exercise, the resistance training is tough. It's hard on your body, okay? It actually feels real intense. Make sure you're doing squats for your lower body. Squats are one of the best exercises to promote growth hormone and testosterone. Squats, deadlifts, and lunges. Those are gonna be your best lower body exercises. So again, 2 upper body days a week with 2 days in between. Okay, so Monday and Thursday are great. Lower body, 2 days in between. So Tuesday and Friday would be great for lower body. Make sure you're getting those compound exercises. You gotta make sure you're hydrating well. I recommend drinking a gallon of water daily. You shouldn't drink it all at once. You should be drinking it throughout the day, but you wanna make sure it's filtered properly. So get reverse osmosis or distilled water. Ideally, get a system in your house or your apartment or whatever it is. There's portable systems. So you can drink it out of a glass and not buying it in a plastic jug. The plastic jug is leaching all these endocrine disruptors, these xenoestrogens into the water. So make sure all your liquids, your oils, anything that you're using is in a glass jar, right? And drinking out of glasses. That's gonna be key for reducing your exposure to these toxic xenoestrogen compounds and microplastics. Okay, now, apple cider vinegar, I'm a huge advocate of this. Take 1 tablespoon of water before each meal. What does apple cider vinegar do? Well, it's gonna help you digest your meal more effectively. When you do that, it stimulates the production of stomach acid, bile, and pancreatic enzymes because it has this effect of stimulating your vagus nerve. Cranial nerve 10 travels from the brainstem into all of your major organ systems and will activate your production of stomach acid, bile, and pancreatic enzymes. Also, it has acetic acid, which is like this amazing fuel for your mitochondria. It helps mitochondria function better and burn fat more effectively. So have a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in 4 to 6 ounces of water before each meal, roughly 10 minutes before the meal or so. Now, also coffee. Drink coffee in the morning if you feel good with it, or you can do green tea, right? Or some sort of herbal tea. Coffee has chlorogenic and caffeic acid, which are also great for mitochondrial function, and they stimulate a pathway in our system called AMPK, which activates fat burning and also cellular healing, right? So it actually activates autophagy processes. So drinking coffee in the morning is a really good idea. Okay, I mentioned eating 2 meals a day. Okay, people are gonna ask, when should I eat those meals? Well, you could eat breakfast and dinner, right? Or you could eat lunch and dinner, or you could eat breakfast and lunch, okay? It doesn't necessarily matter. You could eat in a tightened window. I'm a big advocate of intermittent fasting, but I found that people can burn through these man breasts by just limiting the overall meals that they're consuming, right? So if it's morning and dinner, if that works best for your schedule, do it. You'll burn fat throughout the day once you digest that breakfast meal. Just make sure you're avoiding the sugars and the starches. Also important, again, to avoid as much plastic as possible. It's impossible altogether to avoid plastic. I don't expect you to. None of us can. However, the more you can reduce your exposure to plastic, the better. Less toxins coming in your system. Also, make sure you're prioritizing good sleep. Get in bed early, 9 to 10 p.m., somewhere in that time frame. Making sure that your room is dark, you've got an eye mask on at night. If you're on electronics before you go to bed, make sure you got blue light blocking glasses on to block any of the blue light that would come in. Also, make sure that you're getting midday sunshine. I talked about getting sun throughout the day. It's one of the most important things you can do to help burn through dangerous visceral fat. And then of course, make sure that you're considering sleep apnea. A lot of people with excess visceral fat, they are having trouble breathing at night. So it's a good thing to get tested just in case, especially if you're waking up, you just don't feel rested, or you feel like you're waking up all throughout the night. It's a possible sign you may have sleep apnea. Now, we talked about the first week. The second week, we're gonna go to 2 meals, right? So we start with 3 meals. Second week, we're going with 2 meals. 50 to 75 grams of protein in each meal. Okay, so you're eating a lot of protein. You're walking 3 times a day, 15 to 20 minutes. I want you, while you're walking, to focus on what you're grateful for, and then make sure you're doing resistance training, right? 15 minutes of intense resistance training, 4 days a week, right? We talked about that. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, for example. And then the third week, we're gonna drop it from 2 meals down to 1 meal a day. Or if you're not able to eat a lot of food in 1 meal, maybe you've had your gallbladder taken out, you could do 2 meals in a 4-hour eating window, right? So a very short window, right? Maybe from like 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., for example. You wanna make sure you're eating 100 grams of protein, right? And so that would be like 1 pound of a 90-10 ground beef would give you 90 grams of protein and 45 grams of fat. That would be an example of the macronutrients in a 90-10 grass-fed ground beef, right? It's roughly about 100 grams of protein. So you wanna make sure in that meal you're consuming roughly about 100 grams of protein. Because you're only eating 1 meal, you're gonna be in a caloric deficit, so you're gonna really start burning fat. Week 1 and week 2, we really focus on blood sugar stability to make week 3 easier. When we go down to 1 meal or 2 meals in a very short time window, we need to make sure our blood sugar is really balanced so we can burn fat throughout the day, right? And that's what's gonna end up happening here. But when you do eat that meal, I want you to eat a lot of protein. Again, 100 grams of protein in that meal. Again, making sure we're walking 3 times a day, 15 to 20 minutes, always focusing on what we're grateful for during that walk. That's so important. You can also do something called horizon gazing. So if you're out in nature, this works really well. You're walking and you're looking out as far out as you can, and just taking in the natural beauty. You're looking at the sky, you're looking at the treetops, trying to take in the natural beauty that's around you. That helps to relax your body. It helps produce something called oxytocin, which helps you feel more connected in nature, and also it helps reduce stress hormones in your system, and that's gonna help you burn fat more effectively for fuel. You also wanna make sure you're doing resistance training. 4 days a week of resistance training. Okay, 15 to 20 minutes each day. That's super critical, right? So again, strength training like we talked about, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday as an example. Okay, upper body Monday and Thursday using compound exercises. Lower body Tuesday and Friday using compound exercises. Squats, deadlifts, lunges, right? It should hurt, okay, but you got rest. You got 2 days of rest before you get to the next day. It doesn't have to take long. In fact, I recommend very little rest between sets. That's gonna activate and shock those mitochondria more and help you burn more fat for fuel. If you do that, you're gonna burn through those man boobs, and you're gonna be fitter, right? Feel better, have more energy, better mental clarity, and a lower risk of developing chronic inflammatory conditions. So try that out today. Leave a comment below. Let us know how it's working out for you. Be blessed.